On to the second trailer from the trailer roundup. We have the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is a film that's releasing June 2nd in theaters. This is the second look we've gotten, and we get a much longer trailer here as opposed to the Barbie one we just went over. Ricky Flicks, the first question I'm going to pose to you is a big one. Do you think this is going to outperform Into the Spider-Verse?
Outperform box office or
It's going to be a better movie.
no, no. Usually sequels aren't. But it does look awesome. Like the first one's unbelievable. Like a great origin first movie. Like won an Oscar for God's sakes. And I'm not going to say this one won't win an Oscar. It looks that good. I just think that it's so hard to top what the first one did. It's gonna change what animated movies do. It already has. So I really think that it won't, but I think that it's going to be close to it, or at least I hope it will be.
I'm going to push back and say it is going to be better.
Whew.
Yeah. The amount of time that these creators have had to work on Across the Spider-Verse with the time that has been allotted to them with the delays, I think it's going to help the animation aspect. I think you have a great opportunity to have Miles go on a different journey, and you even see a potential romance he's going to have with Spider-Gwen and comfortability as Spider-Man. I'm just thinking of like comfortability. Like I'm thinking of like Spider-Man 2, I consider better than the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. I think what's interesting here, we know sequels, they get bigger. Okay. This one's literally getting bigger with the opening of the multiverse, going into these different, meeting these new Spider-Man, having like 200 different Spider-Man appearing in this movie. But I think the writing of the first one was so good. I think that it can do something similar here where despite all the chaos around it, and I think that's the beauty of the first one, with the chaos around this movie, it still can find a heart, and I don't know if it's going to lose that feeling. And I'm very excited to be reacquainted with Miles, to get Spider-Gwen, and we even get a tease of her backstory. And that's also why I think this could be a special movie, because we didn't get much on the background of Spider-Gwen. We have some idea of what it was based on our comic book knowledge and our knowledge on Gwen Stacy, the reversal of like her experience in the original Peter Parker or Miles Morales universe, where Gwen Stacy dies at the hands of Green Goblin. Spider-Man can't save her. And now it's Gwen, like Peter Parker dies in the hands of who becomes Spider-Gwen. I think you could have something special there. And I think we also have a couple cool villains here. And that's where it gets interesting, because we got Spot in one quick scene. That's all we get. And a lot of people were presuming he was going to be the main villain of this movie. It still could be the case. They might be trying to like pull the old, I don't know. They're just trying to fool us a little bit. You know, it's just trying to pull the rug from underneath us, thinking that Spider-Man 2099, played by Oscar Isaac, with all the screen time he's gotten in these first two trailers. The Spot, played by Jason Schwartzman, he's stealing, I think, a loaf of bread in a bodega when we first meet him in this trailer. Then we don't hear from him. With 2099, we learn a lot about this story. We learn about him gathering the best Spider-Men within within the multiverse. And I think Oscar Isaac's going to kill it. He sounds amazing. He sounds menacing. He sounds intimidating. I bet he has a very interesting backstory. If I know the Miguel O'Hara character, who is Spider-Man 2099, he actually goes through the loss of his daughter. All right. I might have to be fact checked on that. Maybe you
I believe
know
you're
that.
correct.
And I think like his intensity is really shining through
More so than other Spider-Man tragedies.
in this trailer. And we've kind of like had the idea of 2099 being the villain here. Third act potentially joins the side of Miles Morales,
Or
taking
second
on the
movie.
Spot, or carrying over into Beyond the Spider-Verse. So Ricky Flex, what was your reactions to 2099? Do you think he's going, like, I guess, build on that idea that he might be the guy for this movie, the villain?
Yeah, I've been hinting at that since this movie got announced in 2099. It's in it. He's the villain for this one, but he's not the true villain. And they're kind of pulling a fast one on us, introducing Spot here. And we're kind of taking for granted, oh, he's stealing from a bodega. But he's actually like the big bad for the next movie. And then they're going to need to have all the Spider-Man they can get to defeat him. And yes, he doesn't look bad, like that bad, that villainous. But I think they're going to somehow make a twist. that he's going to be like, holy crap, he can jeopardize the Spider-Verse, similar to what Miles is, it seems like he's doing in this movie. What I'll say with my comments on the Spot would be, I keep wanting to call him Polka Dot Man. I know that's DC. I keep wanting to say it. And then my true thought was,
Thank you for your honesty.
the second thought was Schwartzman here. He's such a great voice actor. I have Klaus in my head as well when he talks. I just have
Mhm.
Klaus, Klaus, Klaus. So that's just those two things going on in my mind. But overall, some great quotes in this trailer. I think you summed it up pretty well. What's going on and what the intensity from Oscar Isaac here and his character 2099. But like, I think save one person or every world. That's a great quote. And then you see like his dad falling, and then it's like, oh, is he gonna save his dad?
We know
Or
what that means in the Spider-Man world, like that fall and
right,
that jump from
exactly.
Spider-Man. Like, I love that, dude.
So it's like, oh, like he could save him, but then it's like saying, oh, then he doesn't have a tragedy like all the other Spider-Men, so Spider-Woman, whatever. So then he's kind of breaking the universe. So he's jeopardizing all the other Spider-Men to even exist. He doesn't have his Uncle Ben or Gwen Stacy moment. Even though he does lose his uncle in the prior film. So it still doesn't make sense to me, all these quotes, but they're so good. Like, everyone keeps telling me how this story is supposed to go. Great quote. Another great quote. And then the final scene where it's like, oh, let me guess, he died. Like, I wish they saved that for the movie. That
Yeah,
I was laugh out loud. I was laughing out loud. That was such a funny quote. My God. And they did the meme. They did the Spider-Man meme, but like on steroids with like 1,000 different Spider-Man.
that's a good
So
spin because there was some like Spider-Man meme fatigue, and I feel like it was
No Way
like gone by
Home.
the wayside. I'm like, I don't want to see this again from a Spider-Man movie. But then like we got it there, and there's so many people doing it. It's like, oh, that's kind of funny. I did want to say, is Spot the reason why the Spider Team's assembling? Is that safe to assume? And if the Spider-Man 29 is the lead of this group and he's the one who brings them together, does he have a personal vendetta against Spot and he needs to assemble all these Spider-Men to face this villain?
So my theory, which I have no, like, again, this is just a theory.
That's
I
why we're
think in
here.
that bodega run, like Spider-Man Miles Morales goes out to get him, but then the cops are called 911, and then his dad's there, and then when he's trying to get Spot, he gets away and he goes saves his dad, and then he goes to the Spider-Verse, and then 299's like, you jeopardize this whole thing, and then he has to get a team to get Miles Morales. And
Interesting.
then Spot's still there, and then they recognize by the end of the movie, like, oh crap, like Spot is the villain. Miles Morales, like, you were just being Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like, let's go defeat Spot in the next movie.
Or I was thinking, like, because Gwen is the one who pulls him from his own universe into the multiverse to go meet 2099 and the rest of this crew. I was thinking that, like, it was Gwen's idea to get Miles Morales a part of this team, and then 2099, like, is buying into this idea. And I kind of liked it. You brought up the fact that, like, we're trying to see how the first one changes from the second one. The first one, Miles Morales wants to prove that he can be amongst these Spider-Men. And here, and like he wants to be a part of this group. Here, he doesn't necessarily want to be. He wants to be with Spider Gwen, but like the other people in this group want him, right, to be like a part of this squad. And maybe he doesn't see eye to eye with them. And that's where I think this movie can do something potentially different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think overall this was a great trailer. Like, you saying that this will be better than the previous one, I can't like be totally shocked by that because how good this looks and how reliable these people are. But I just think the first one's just so
Transcendent. Yeah.
yeah, transcendent. That's the word. Transcendent.
Change animated
I don't
movies.
know how it's gonna be. It's similar to like, I think looking like we were talking about Shrek earlier. I just have Shrek on my mind, I guess. Shrek 2, a lot of people will say, oh, like, I like that movie more than Shrek, but you can't like Shrek. Look at Super Mario Bros. Like, look at Shrek, what it did. Like, Shrek is a better movie.
The blueprint.
Yeah, so that's why I'm gonna say this is gonna be a similar scenario, probably closer quality wise, where this is gonna be arguably better than the first one, but you can't discount the
The
first
first
one.
one was so unique and so different, and then people are looking back at it like this changed everything. So it's hard to say this next one's going to be
Yeah,
better.
we'll see
You
though.
know,
Like John Wick 4, we were like, I think we're
best
both
one of the
in.
series.
Yeah, so you never know.
And I want to talk about another line in this trailer. Spider-Man 2099 references Doctor Strange and Tom
Right.
Holland's Spider-Man in Earth 199999, and I think that was it, 19999. And I think this is opening up a bunch of questions. So I think it's almost a safe bet that once Beyond the Spider Verse, the third movie of this trilogy happens, there's going to be a through line to the MCU for Miles Morales. I wouldn't say so for the rest of this crew. I don't even think Spider Gwen's going to be introduced. Potentially can. I don't know. Once we get more backstory here, we might have a clear vision. But there's also a potential that we might have the three Peter Parkers from No Way Home in this movie. And they were hinted at in the international trailer at the beginning of it, where it went through some quick pans of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, Ricky Flex. What are the odds? Let's just start off with those three Spider-Man appearing in this movie.
I've also hinted at this. I don't know. Not that we just said about them appearing in this movie, but this Miles Morales, this specific one, animated one, translating to the live action one. That I'm gonna stick by that. I don't think the three are gonna appear here. I think that's just a little too much.
I think they are.
But that reference, why put that in the trailer if they're not? And that
I,
goes to your point. I'm gonna hold out with my theory just because I'm stubborn, but I would say the odds are you're the favorite.
I think the three are going to appear in this, not just because they are referenced, not referenced, but like they do quick pans before. Did you see it? The international trailer?
What do you mean, like the trailer for this movie?
No, no, yeah, but there was a separate trailer that debuted in other countries where it showed Tobey Maguire, the back of his spider suit, live
Oh,
action. Then it
really?
showed Andrew Garfield. Then it showed
I did
Tom
not see
Holland.
that.
So I think they're going to be in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And because we're getting what 200 different version of Spider-Man here, how can you not have the three most famous ones? And I think when you have that, that's just going to like amplify your theory that he's going to be eventually Miles Morales, a part of the MCU, specifically Shamik Moore. I think he's going to be the Miles Morales in the MCU
It seems that way.
after Beyond the Spider Verse. Like conclude your trilogy. All right, make your masterpiece. Like let's just make this one of the best animated trilogies ever made. Okay, I know we're jumping the gun a little bit by saying that with the second one not even appearing, but like what we got from the first one, we know something special is brewing and something Phil Lord and Chris Miller really have a firm grasp on. So I think the odds are they are going to be in this movie, and there is going to be a through line, especially after mentioning that. But it's also interesting because who's saying that? It's Oscar Isaac, who is Moon Knight in the MCU, and he is Spider-Man 2099 and across the Spider-Verse. So that's why it makes me think like the only one we're going to get from the Spider-Verse universe or multiverse is going to be Miles Morales. Like you can't have 2099 slide over because it's going to have Oscar Isaac as the dude.
Yeah, I think. Hmm. I think you make an interesting point. I think you could, but I think overall, like I think the only person that's sliding over is Miles Morales.
Or Spider Gwen, and she
Yeah,
might be a part of this.
and then if she
That's the
doesn't
next one.
die out of these three movies, then yeah, she'll come over too because they're gonna be so. She's gonna be so influential for Miles. I think those are the only two that slide over, and then obviously the parents. But like I think everyone else, no, Brad, no.
And Sony is making Spider-Man TV series alongside with Amazon. We're getting a Spider-Man Noir series coming, and it makes me think like that's a 2099 opportunity potentially to see in live action. Um, I also want you talked about the parents. I think this is another theory I have is they're going to find out he's Spider-Man by the end of this movie.
It seems
Um,
that way.
where I think he has a good relationship with his parents. Went through a rough patch in the first movie,
Same
but
with this one.
yeah,
It seems that way.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like when that the principal or whoever whatever teacher they're meeting with or educator, they say he's lying to you and they have a concerned look on their face and they clearly care about him. And I don't think Miles is a kid who wants to continuously lie to his parents. So I think there's going to be a moment at the end of this where they find out he's Spider-Man or he tells them himself. You know, that's going to happen in my
Mhm.
eyes.
Or like the dad dies and then the next one they find out or something like that. But yeah, he's going through puberty and the arrogance factor, but also just like, he's Spider-Man. He's going to be late. He's going to be irresponsible at times with his family because of his secret. So I think, yeah, they're gonna find out at some point. When will it be? I don't know. But it does seem that it's hinting at it will be this movie, probably towards the last scene, maybe.
And the way I want to kind of wrap up this discussion is look as talking about how amazing the animation was here. And it's something that we have talked about time and time again from the first movie. But the moment that really stuck out to me was the part with the comedic timing of when you talk about, oh, let me guess, your dad died, when he's talking to the therapist, and then bursting through the wall is this group of about 20 different Spider-Man with Miles at the front of it. And it just has all the fun and it's explosive, and it felt like it only could happen in a Spider-Verse movie, like the way that that was portrayed on screen. So I just wanted to shout out that moment, and I love the it's kind of look like, I was watching Dune the other day. Shocker. But when they have the protective suits and it's like red and it's like when they get hit and things like that,
Yeah,
like that protection, that guard, it felt like you almost had that with Spider-Man 2099. That looks really cool. And the way they draw 2099, him crawling, he looks like a legitimate like predator when he's taking on Miles Morales. So I just think that they nailed the depiction of 2099. If he's going to be this menacing, intimidating villain, potentially, at least in the first half of this movie.
yeah, I completely agree. It looks amazing, and I think, yeah, with the villain aspect, um, yeah, honestly, what I'm thinking about, I was spacing out for a second because you earlier said like, oh, there's 300 Spider-Man. Of course, they're gonna have Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in it. I was like, oh, like, but you can't squeeze in Spider-Man Noir, Nick Cage for a scene. Like, just tangent there.
Um, I would love. I think he does make an appearance. By the way, I think they all do very briefly, but they're not on the team. You know,
Right.
they all
Okay.
have to. There's 200
Maybe
Spider-Man.
he has to get the gang back together to help him out of the mess
Help
of
him
all the
take on the
Spider-Man.
Spider Team.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Spider Gwen goes on his side.
right.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I have no problem with them having prominent roles in the sequel. Right, they help make the magic of the first one. So excited for the Spider-Man Noir series. I think that could be incredible if they execute it properly, but we'll see. Sony, I don't know. Aside from Spider-Verse and MCU properties. So that's gonna do it for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.